Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Boy GhostGG, and today we are reacting to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the first preview from IGN. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Final Fantasy VII Remake always felt like a marvel to me, an unlikely game that I have a hard time fathoming that it actually exists. To take one of the most well-known and beloved RPGs of all time and rebuild it into a modern package seemed an impossible task, yet Square Enix somehow managed to rise to the challenge. With Rebirth, the second entry in the planned trilogy of the FF7 Remake project, the task seems even more daunting. Going into Remake, it was unclear whether Square Enix would stay 100% true to the beloved original or make plot changes to one of the most well-known storylines in all of gaming. The answer, it turned out, was a bit of both. Remake followed the structure of FF7 nearly to a T, expanding out the original's Midgar section into a full game of its own, while also making small but significant changes to key moments. And now, Rebirth has the unenviable task of picking up this new, almost but not quite same story as Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barret, and Red 13 emerge from Midgar on the heels of Sephiroth. I went hands-on with a short demo section of the PS5 exclusive, playing through a bit of the flashback sequence from 5 years previous, where Cloud and Sephiroth approach the Mount Nibble reactor, as well as a second section of the open area that the party explores before entering the military city of Junon.
That city they're headed to, is that...
Junon. Shinra territory.
Junon.
At its core, Rebirth's combat is nearly identical to the system used in Remake, combining active attacking and movement with issuing commands to your party members when their action meter is full. You still pressure and stagger enemies, building the gauge via skillful combat and doling out massive damage when it's full. It's a fun system that provides a good mixture of modern active combat with the turn-based strategy that FF7 is known for. Fortunately, there are some new combat options available at your disposal. Rebirth introduces a new synergy system that lets you unleash multi-character combo attacks. Look out for synergy skills, which are basic combo attacks that can be used without an ATB charge, that you employ by holding R1 and then pressing square or triangle. These didn't feel terribly different from just mashing square to attack, but they do give you an additional way to vary your basic damage output. Rebirth also introduces synergy abilities, which can be used when two characters have built enough synergy gauge, a new secondary meter
so they can attack together.
These essentially feel like additional limit breaks, giving you another source of big flashy damage to dole out. Synergy abilities vary depending on the characters using them, and they have fun little mini cutscenes, like Barret unloading a salvo of bullets and then throwing Red 13 at the target. There's also new materia to expand your options in combat. In addition to one seen in Remake, like Synergy, Magnify, and Assess, I encountered a Precision Defense Focus materia, which extends the input timing window for perfect blocking, a Lightning and Wind materia, which enabled both arrow and thunder magic, and a Level Boost materia, which increases the level
Lightning and Wind together. That's cool.
The demo also gave me a taste of how Rebirth will translate the expansive open world of FF7's world map into explorable zones. It won't be completely open world, but rather have large open areas that you'll be able to explore. Fans of the original will remember the pre-Junon section as a relatively empty bit of world map that the party traverses after emerging from the Mithril Cave. Here, though, it's a large open area with cliffs overlooking a picturesque bay with the imposing edifice of Junon looming in the background. In open areas like this, the party will explore on foot, in vehicles, and on the backs of chocobos.
Yay!
Poor Red 13. That cannot be comfortable. This section I played was fairly walled off at the edges, but
why doesn't he just run along?
These walls are actually hard separations from other zones, or if the world map actually is all connected, and you're just limited by the modes of traversal at your disposal, as was the case with the original FF7 overworld. I didn't get to try out catching a chocobo for myself, but once you have one for that area, it can be summoned with R1. Chocobos will primarily be used for exploration and traversal, with specialized variants available in different areas. In the section I played, I only had access to a fairly basic chocobo that gave me some extra speed, but we've seen in the gameplay trailer one that can scale cliffs and another that can fly. The open area also had
man.
some hunt-like encounters that were marked on the map. These marked enemies seem to be specialized variants that came with a list of tasks to complete while fighting them. In the demo, these tasks were fairly basic: pressure and stagger an enemy, and defeat them all within a certain time limit. But I have to assume that more complicated challenges will be present in the full game. These fights could also be repeated if you wanted to take an additional stab at knocking out all the objectives. Meanwhile, the open areas are littered with crafting materials to pick up. Little bits like laurel leaves and mist seeds and manifestations of the planet's blessing, whatever that is. These can be used to craft basic items like potions and Phoenix Downs. There are also chocobo stops to unlock, which serve as fast travel locations, letting you return to previous zones even after you've moved on. And yes,
the little
you can
chocobo.
pet the chocobo chick.
Yay! So cute.
Story-wise, Rebirth again feels very familiar and yet also different. This is due in part to the tremendous difference in scale and presentation. Here, like with Remake, areas that were previously sparse or bare are expanded out into lush zones to explore. But there are also little changes that are mostly inconsequential, but they still play out in different ways than fans of the original FF7 are used to. Climbing Mount Nibble with Cloud, Sephiroth, and Tifa is effectively the same as people will remember it, right down to specific scenes like Sephiroth explaining how materia is crystallized Mako.
For the Mako energy to condense into something like this, it must have taken an eternity.
I've always wondered, how does materia let you cast spells exactly?
How did you ever get to be a soldier?
And then you'll run into something different, like needing to use a big honkin' vacuum cleaner to hoover up some Mako fumes before you can use an elevator. What was that about?
Also, gas levels reduced by 20%.
Finally, there's the question of bigger changes. The end of Remake retcons a character death with fairly significant implications for FF7's story. Rebirth, meanwhile, will cover through the end of the original game's first disc, which, well, I'm not going to say anything. The real question, though, is whether the story-changing whispers of fate will show up again. That remains to be seen.
Oh, great! These assholes again! Probably some Shinra science experiment.
Whispers.
For more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coverage, check out our interview with game director Naoki Hamaguchi, producer Yoshinori Kitase, and creative director Tetsuya Nomura. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
Alright. Oh, still a little bit here. Oh, it looks like gameplay. Hold up.
What?
Oh my god.
Get back.
Sephiroth!
This way.
You said you wanted to be a hero.
Wish I hadn't.
Ah!
It thinks we're after
Oh,
material.
Cloud and Sephiroth together! Oh my god. Sephiroth! You get to play as Sephiroth. Oh, look at that. Holy shit. Oh man, I can't wait till this game comes out.
Try to keep your guard up.
Alright, then gentlemen, there we have it. That is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the first preview from IGN. And oh man, it looks so good. So I never played the originals. I've mentioned that many times during many other reactions and during my gameplay of the 7 Remake and all that. I never played the originals, but I watched a video on the storyline of the originals. Because obviously the remake is similar and different in story. We know that with Zack being alive at the end of the remake and looking down at Midgar covered with the whispers and everything, that just doesn't make sense. Because if I remember correctly, Zack dies while escaping with Cloud. And then Cloud takes up his sword and believes that he is a soldier. But he isn't actually a soldier. He was just a normal like Shinra guard person with like the 3 eye things, those like Splinter Cell things on their head. He's just one of those. He wasn't an actual soldier. So obviously things changed a little bit here. But what do those changes mean to the Rebirth game that's coming out? And I want to see where it goes, because I know the original story now, bits and pieces. I don't remember all of it. I watched it a little while ago. I know it now from watching it. I'm curious how it changes, because this story is dope. It's really good. It is the RPG. It's such a good game. I'm talking about the original Final Fantasy VII. It's the RPG. I already knew it, but like I already knew the characters Cloud, Barret, Tifa, like all those characters before I was even into Final Fantasy. It's that big of a game. I already knew the characters. Without playing a Final Fantasy ever. The first Final Fantasy I ever played was 15, I believe. So that's I already knew the characters. Like Cloud is one of the biggest characters ever. Sephiroth, I got without playing a single one, and knew the characters. That's how big they are. So being able to play it now, I doubt I would ever go back and play the originals. I just can't do it. It's hard to play older games nowadays when you get the treat of playing the new type of games with the graphics and the mechanics. It's just so hard to go back to play originals. At least for me it is. I'm sure it might be easier for other people, especially if they already played that game when they were young and now they're going back as an adult and playing it. But yeah, that is it for now. That is the reaction for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the first preview. It looks amazing. I can't wait to watch more trailers. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more trailers and previews coming from IGN. But till then, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.